I love the comments on YouTube. I love them all, really, I do. I love them all just the same way as I love the smell of roses and the smell of shit exactly the same. I'm joking. I do actually much prefer the smell of roses than I do to the smell of shit. However, I am aware that shit and rose smells are just smells, and on that level they are just smells. When I look at the YouTube comments, I bear that in mind, that they are comments, be they good comments or bad comments. They're just comments. They're people's opinions, and I try not to take offence at the bad comments, and I try not to get overly thrilled with the good comments. Of course, it's really nice to have people's support. There's no doubt about that. And people's appreciation. That's great. And, when people really don't get it or they're just positively rude, it's hard to handle, And so I don't look unless I'm in a good space. And by that I mean a space of equanimity where I really can just see them as someone's opinion. YouTube is really well known for really nasty comments, rubbishing comments, really horrible comments. I don't know why, but somehow or other people just think on YouTube they can just have a slanging match, It's crazy. And that's why I think a lot of people don't have comments, they don't allow comments. I leave the comments there because I think people need to feel that they can say whatever they want to say. So I have a policy of not removing any comments on my vlog. YouTube's full of dreadful comments, so why should my vlog be any different? But there's a couple of things that I find really interesting about the comments. And I think it's people's projections. It's people sometimes act as if I'm trying to convince them of something, and actually I'm not. All I'm doing is sharing my opinion of certain things, and I also kind of express the same kind of feelings that other people going through the same thing also have. So I speak, not just for myself, but for other people as well. But it's just an opinion, and the world is full of opinions, and my opinion is not any better than your opinion. It's just an opinion. It's an opinion that's shared by some people, and it's an opinion that's not shared by other people. But some people get really annoyed because I'm saying something that is not what they want to hear, or I'm saying something that casts something that they value in a bad light. And that's perfectly natural, but what it does for me is really illuminate how our minds work, and particularly with projections. So if you think I'm trying to convince you of something, then you will react against it if it's not something you want to be convinced about. But what I'd like you to understand is I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm really not. The other assumption that some people seem to be making is that somehow or other they think that because I've got a vlog and I'm talking about a spiritual topic, that I'm trying to be somebody who knows something, or God forbid that I'm trying to set myself up as some kind of authority. And again, that is absolutely not my intention. I find the idea kind of laughable. I've always been interested in spiritual topics, and so I play around with it and I talk about it and whatever, but it's only ever from my perspective as a normal, ordinary person. I am not trying to be any kind of teacher, and I'm not trying to be right and tell other people that they're wrong. I'm just not interested in that sort of thing at all. So when people say things like, I feel sorry for you, it's like, huh? So, well, that's nice. I'm glad you feel sorry for me, but I'm not quite sure why you feel sorry for me. So I'm not trying to be a teacher. In fact, I try and avoid getting into that kind of area at all, and stick pretty much to how things are for me while I negotiate the waters of coming to terms with the fact that what I spent 20 years of my life doing was actually being in a cult. It's not the Buddhist teachings, it's not Tibetan Buddhism that was the cult. No, it was just Rigpa. Rigpa was the cult. And why? Because the people running it behave like people running a cult. You know? It's just how it is. And if you don't believe that, then you haven't done your research into cults, and you haven't really looked at what was happening in Rigpa and how things are being managed now. And the big thing about how things are being managed now is that it's all still a cover-up. And, you know, that's not the behaviour of it's not the behaviour of Bodhisattva. It's the behaviour of cult leaders. So anyway, where does this projection come from, where people look at what I'm doing and then evaluate it as if I'm trying to be some kind of authority? You know, because I don't do that myself. It's definitely a projection from other people. And when I saw this, I thought, you know, isn't this weird? But it's what we do. You know, we keep trying to assign some kind of authority to anybody who says anything, you know, and it's like we're always looking for a guru. And it happened to me recently in a group where I shared something interesting that somebody had put up on YouTube, and there were some ideas in that I found quite useful. And some people reacted as if suddenly I was going to take this guy as my guru. And I mean, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not looking for a guru. You can be quite sure of that. I'm not interested in gurus at all, especially ones that wear robes. That said, I'm still in Mingyur Rinpoche's group, but I'm there because I want another experience of Tibetan Buddhism that isn't Rigpa. And by listening to the teachings coming through Turga, Mingyur Rinpoche's group, I get a much clearer idea of how they were subtly distorted in Rigpa. What I'm saying now is that we have this tendency to keep looking for authorities outside of ourselves, and we assume that anyone who's talking thinks they're an authority, and then we think we have to evaluate them as if they're an authority or as if they're trying to be an authority, instead of just looking at what they're actually saying and evaluating just the ideas, you know. I mean, for my stuff, for my vlogs, it's really just a matter of, am I speaking for you? You know, does this resonate with you? Do the things that I talk about help you to process the situation you're going through? Because these vlogs are basically for people going through what I've been going through. And it's cult exit stuff, you know, that's what this is. That's what this processing is. It's the process of leaving a cult and recovering from your time in a cult. And whether you were actually abused in that cult or not, the process of recovery is still a process that you need to go through if you're going to continue living your life having fully adjusted to your experience. You know, and that's not to say that my time at Rigpa was bad, you know, not at all. It's just that it was all distorted. And the more time I spend in Mingyur Rinpoche's group, the more I realised just how distorted Rigpa actually was. So anyway, to get back to this desire of people to want to assign, you know, guru status to anybody who says anything on a vlog or you know, any kind of talk, it's the same kind of thing that had us fall into this my Lama is perfect. This, you know, my Lama is everything. I believe everything that he says. I accept him as my Lama. I do not criticize him. I think it's a desire for a saviour. You just want somebody to tell you what to do. And that's fine, but it's kind of infantile, you know. And I did it too. I mean, it's so much easier to have somebody tell you what to do than to try and make your own mind up about things. But if we're going to be spiritually mature, we really do have to do what the Dzogchen teachings were telling us to do the whole time, and that is to turn our mind inward and to look into the nature of our own mind and our own wisdom. But that's really, really hard to do. And it's easy to have it as an intellectual knowledge. And we did have it as an intellectual knowledge in Rigpa, but it's not what we did. In practice, we turned everything out onto the Lama, and was encouraged. Our path is the Lama. Everything was the Lama. Devotion to the Lama was it. That was it. So I really understand the people who don't really want to face the fact that their Lama was abusing people, and that the people that are running their organisation are really not trustworthy, that they have been manipulating them, and that they do lie to them, and they most definitely have been covering up the true situation for decades. It's hard to actually accept that, because then what do? You're thrown back on yourself and your own discernment. Then you don't have anyone to tell you what to do anymore. So long as you hold on to all that romantic, magical thinking that says that if you just have complete and utter faith and devotion for this guy, you're going to make it, you're going to hit enlightenment. I understand why people want to hold on to that. And I've been there myself, there was a time when I didn't want that to be disturbed either. I didn't want to be knocked off my path. And I think it takes a spiritual maturity to be able to handle that, and to be able to really turn your mind in towards your own wisdom. And a step towards that, and a more simple step, is reigniting your own discernment, actually getting your critical thinking faculties going again. And that's what a lot of these vlogs that I do are about. They're about thinking critically about things that we haven't thought about critically before, that we really have taken on blind faith. So anyway, understand that. And I even understand people being very defensive of their position. It's absolutely understandable. So when I see that kind of defensiveness in the comments, that's fine. When people lash out personally, when somebody is just being really nasty to somebody else, it doesn't help anything. It just doesn't do anybody any good, and it's hurtful. So I'm not immune to that. As I say, I don't look at comments now unless I feel able to remain back from them, just in case there is some hurtful comment. And some of them are so absurd I just laugh, so that's kind of helpful. It's always good to be able to laugh, to not take them too seriously, or myself too seriously. So I love my comments, all of them, and even the bad ones are a great opportunity for spiritual practice, because I can practice retaining my equanimity. I can practice seeing both praise and blame as equal. And I can practice letting go of hope that I'll get nice comments and fear that I'll get bad comments. So in that respect, I can say that I love all my comments. But it would be good if you could stop projecting. Because I don't want to be anybody's guru. So watch if you enjoy, listen if you enjoy what I say. If it rings a bell to you or inspires, even if it inspires anger, if it inspires something that makes you start thinking about these issues, then that's great. Because I think the big problem here in the way that we've approached Tibetan Buddhism as Westerners is that we've been looking for a saviour figure. We've taken our Christian values over into Buddhism. We've gone for the blind faith, and left our discernment behind. And, we're told it's not blind faith. So we go, oh, good, it's not blind faith. But we take it like blind faith. If we didn't take it as blind faith, we would have been more discerning. We would have not given up our critical thinking faculties. We wouldn't have been quite so ready and willing to believe everything that somebody said. Just because some of the things that they say are true doesn't mean that everything that they say are true. But, I just sort of went, oh, this is all great, and so I just assumed that everything that he said is true. And this is only now that I'm going, well, I don't care whether it's Buddhism or not. The important thing is whether it rings true for me, whether it's true in my own perspective, my own experience, my own practice, and what effect that kind of belief has on me. So I hope you've enjoyed the in-car video. I can actually do two things at once. I'm a woman, I can multitask. I think I've been pretty safe. So anyway, that's all for today. And yeah, keep the comments coming or don't. Whatever works for you. Like, share, all that kind of stuff if you think there's any value in what I do at all. I do like talking to you, actually. Yeah, it's good. It's good talking to you. And I do like it when you talk back. Yeah, so I can't always comment. I just don't have time, But anyway, that's it for today. So thanks for listening.